The popular TikTok app is bouncing back in the U.S. as pressure from the government eases under the Biden administration. TikTok said it saw a 500% jump in advertisers running campaigns on the platform in 2020. That's a turnaround for the app, which saw advertisers slashing spending after former President Trump pushed to ban the app. TikTok, which has more than 100 million U.S. users, recently signed with McDonald's, fashion giant Kate Spade, and Bose Electronics. Let's bring in Seth Berenzweig. He's a business and technology attorney, as well as the founder and managing partner of Berenzweig, Leonard. Seth, let's talk a little bit about TikTok. Those numbers would indicate a turnaround, but I've spoken to a number of experts who say, look, things can only improve over Trump, but don't expect a dramatic shift immediately. So where do you see things right now?
Well, TikTok has been in a major legal battle with the United States in light of the last year or so. Under the Trump administration, there has been essentially a tech war on several fronts, and one of those fronts has been through the court system. TikTok was hit with some presidential executive orders that tried to limit the way that they were able to do business here in the United States, and there was litigation here in various federal courts. And the Trump administration did not do very well. They have been fighting, and TikTok thus far had done fairly well and had won those in the trial court. The Biden administration has inherited a broad and complex tech war, and the TikTok issue is certainly a piece of that. Within the TikTok litigation, the Biden administration has asked the courts to put a pause on any appeals so that they can carefully review the issue.
Let me ask you about this story that was in Reuters recently about semiconductor firms. They want to reverse Trump administration efforts to block sales to Huawei. Billions of dollars at stake with tech and chip sales on the line. All of this hinging on what Biden decides to do about export restrictions. You know, we're seeing an economy that's in pretty dire straits. Is there pressure on Biden to kind of shift the thinking on this?
Well, there is pressure on Biden from a number of different corners. The conservatives here in Washington are pressuring him to maintain tough talk on China, trying to encourage him to push back with regard to alleged unfair trade and business practices. However, I think there's a lot of risk that are running on the president essentially walking a tightrope here. On the one hand, he has to talk tough on China and he has to try to maintain certain protections. But on the other hand, if he goes and he squeezes too tight, there could be a very significant business fallout. As you've mentioned, there is definitely a cross-pollination of business between the United States and China. China and the United States are the richest, most powerful economies in the world. And if this relationship is not managed correctly, it can have a major fallout for businesses here in America and throughout the world. So Tesla, for example, has a major new plant in China, and they want to be able to continue to operate that. And the relationship is on many fronts. So you are correct that Huawei is going to be an issue that the Trump administration has passed over in a very complex manner to the Biden administration. They're reviewing that. I think there will probably be some changes, but there will still be tough talk when it comes to trying to do business with China.
And let's talk about another aspect of the Trump administration, the Meng Wanzhou extradition battle. Again, you know, one would think that Biden's really pretty much focused on this vaccine rollout, trying to tackle COVID, trying to do something about the economy. This doesn't seem like to be front and center, but where do you see him landing on this?
Boy, that's really a very complex and very heated issue. You're referring to the eldest daughter of the founder and the CEO of Huawei, who had operated as the CFO of the company. She is currently being detained in Canada. She's fighting extradition, and I agree with you. I think this is going to be a tough one for the Biden administration to focus on, but it really is symbolic of how complex this relationship is. At this point, you have these major powers that are trying to work this out. China has had an increased relationship with Europe. That includes transfer and sharing of 5G technology. The United States wants to have a major foothold foothold in 5G. Biden will probably need to have a multinational, multilateral approach, but he's going to have a very hard time trying to convince nations like Britain and Germany to try to step back and join in that fray. So it's very, very complicated, and there are very major risks and a lot of stakes that are on the line for the economy and companies here in the United States as well as across the globe.
Seth, one final question. Given the fact that these two leaders, Xi Jinping and Biden, were on the phone for about 2 hours, we're hearing, what does that say about at least there's discussions going? I guess that's a positive sign.
Sure, I think it's a very positive sign. This is an important relationship. If there's a way that there can be mutual trust to be able to carry out economic relations between the two nations, then it's definitely a plus for both countries. China has to be able to demonstrate to the Biden administration that it can play by the rules and that it can observe data protection and cybersecurity. And the United States needs to have a more clear set level ground play where they can announce things and have a little bit of a smoother transition rather than as it happened in the prior administration where things were happening in a little bit more of an inconsistent fashion. But there are going to be a lot of corporate CEOs that are going to be watching these conversations, and the Biden administration will announce its policies regarding China over the next few weeks.
All right, Seth, thanks so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.